This is your no bullshit guide to a happier life. Quick, but not necessarily easy tips to help you to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of your business and your life. My name is Helen Calvert. I'm a coach, a business owner and a parent, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I do swear occasionally, as the title suggests, so pop in your headphones if I'm not safe for little ears. Ready to go? Let's do this. This episode is sponsored by Project Woman. Project Woman is a community restyling female health and challenging the societal norms and perceptions around the way a woman should show up in the world. Supporting women at their point of change, this community created by Abby Adams is a powerful female collective, and I have the honour of being one of Abby's Empower Her partners within Project Woman. Are your conversations about your feminine health lighting you up? Are they encouraging your intelligence to think outside of the box? Do they make you feel intelligent as a woman? If you're looking for an alternative conversation that makes female health fun, exciting and collaborative, welcome to Project Woman, a space dedicated to encouraging women to talk confidently as women. The Project Woman online space has rooms for various areas of conversation. My favourite is the Scream Room, a place you can let off steam so you can carry on your day without feeling burdened by that stress. There's a directory of wonderful Empower Her partners ready to answer any questions you may have on menstrual, perimenopause and menopausal health. We've got every corner covered for you, so why not join us and electrify the conversation around female health? Options start from £5 and the first month is free. So why not sign up to see what it's all about and join the conversation? To find out more, head to abbyadams.co.uk, that's abiadams.co.uk, and follow the link to Project Woman, or check out Abby's links in the show notes for this episode. Hello, and welcome to this episode where we are talking about what goes on the list. What should we be putting on our to-do list if we're going to get shit done? We know what we want to do. We're putting things on our list. Wherever we keep it, we keep our list. But what should go on the list? Well, surely, Helen, the things we need to do should go on the list, right? Yes and no, because it is all about the difference between projects and tasks. Many people put projects on their to-do list, and that's the fast way to overwhelm. You want to be putting tasks on your to-do list. So let me explain the difference. So let's say that on your to-do list right now, it says things like get the website sorted, get some sponsors for your podcast, start a blog, do some reels, or maybe it's life admin. Maybe it says sort out the living room, or plan Freddie's birthday, or spend more time with my husband. Those are all projects. So we're starting off early here with our mindset block alert. Projects are overwhelming, and if you see them on your to-do list, your brain is just going to run and hide. So they just stay on the list, and they never get done. They never get started because you see start a blog or sort the website, and your brain goes, no, can't, too big, too scary, don't know what I'm doing. And it doesn't get done. And then you wonder to yourself, why can't I get shit done? This is why. So, only tasks should go on a to-do list. A task is one thing that is part of a project. So your projects need to be broken down into their individual tasks. And all of our brains are different. So tasks will be different for all of us. Some of us will be able to see some fairly chunky things as one task. Some of us will need things broken down into the tiniest steps. There's no right or wrong way. It's just about what your brain can handle. So how do we break it down? Right. So the very first task on any project is to break it down into its tasks. So instead of writing down sort the website, what you want to write down is break down the website tasks or figure out the steps for the website, something like that. That is the task. You can't do anything until that task has been done. So When we're ready to do that task, get yourself a piece of paper or a fresh Word document or whatever, and write out the steps involved. So what does sort the website mean? What are the steps involved? What are the individual things that you need to do? Now, if you find this easy, then that's great. Put the individual steps on your list and then you can just work through them one at a time. So you give yourself a step to do each time. If you find this hard to break it down into tasks, do not panic. I can help. Firstly, though, just a little reminder about your full list versus your list for today. We're going to talk about this more later on in the podcast, but I don't ever want you to look at your full list while you're trying to get shit done, because again, it's overwhelming. What we have, or what I hope we have somewhere in a notebook, spreadsheet, app, whatever, is a huge, enormous list of all the things that need to be done. Need to be done now, need to be done next week, need to be done next year, all the projects, all the tasks. It's mammoth, isn't it? It's huge. We want it all written down so we don't forget about it, but it's too much. You can't then start your day looking at that massive list and thinking, well, where do I begin? What do I do? You have a separate list for the day ahead of you. So you want to have some kind of enormous list somewhere, but I don't want you to think of that as your to-do list. Your to-do list is what you're going to get done today. So we're going to talk about that more later in the podcast, but I just wanted to make that clear because yes, I am creating, lists and lists of tasks for you here by breaking down your projects, but it's okay. They're all going to be somewhere that you can pick them out on the right day for doing them. So let's say you've got this project and you realise that you need to break it down into steps, but you're finding that quite hard. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Number 1, breathe, bathroom, beverage. If you're looking at a piece of paper that says start a blog and you've got to break that down into tasks and you're already panicking, take a deep breath. Go and have a wee, grab a drink. Okay, let's do it. Don't worry about putting the tasks in order to begin with. Just write them down, whatever comes to mind. So let's say we're planning the kids' birthday party. Just write down everything that comes into your head. Cake, balloons, invitations, food, venue, all that stuff. Just write it all out until you can't think of anything else. And then have a look at what you've written. Which of those things feels easy, maybe even fun? Okay, that's a task. So maybe buying balloons. That's one task. Pretty easy. Nip to Tesco's, buy balloons. Okay, that's definitely a task. Which of the things you've written down feels overwhelming to you? So, as I say, it's different for all of us. But if it feels overwhelming to you, it's still a project. So maybe you're looking at find a venue and you're thinking, oh, Jesus, I don't even know where to start. Yeah, okay, that's another project that needs breaking down. So the task there is to break down the find a venue project into its component parts. So we're breaking it down. Imagine a big Lego house and we're pulling it apart and breaking it down into its individual bricks. So then you can start putting those bricks back together as you get the project completed. Each task is a little brick, and we want to make sure that each one is just a brick. So remember, we're not aiming to get anything done right now. If you're sat down with your piece of paper and you're breaking down this birthday planning project or this website project, we're not aiming to get any of it achieved. We're aiming to end up with probably quite a big list of individual tasks. That's job done for today. You can be like, well done me, I've done that. I have now the long list of tasks. That's what we're aiming for. And then it's going to be easy to tick off those individual tasks another day. That's a job for another day to start then working through them. So once you've got it all written down, then put them in order if there's an obvious order. For instance, there is no point writing party invitations until you've got a date and a venue. So those things have to come first, right? So if there's an obvious order, then put them in order. A little tip, actually, if you're doing any kind of event, birthday party, work event, whatever, do a mental walkthrough. this always works for me. I did event planning in the past. And if you imagine the actual event, if you imagine the day and you see people walking through the door, and walk yourself through the whole event as though you're someone attending it, and see if you can see, I suppose it depends on your brain whether you see things the way I do, but see if you can see what might be missing. So, okay, they're walking through the door. So do I need decorations? Okay, then they're going into the room and we're doing this, that and the other. Okay, yeah, I'm going to need cups, aren't I, for drinks? Walk through it in your head. It's just a little event planning tip. So that's for the big stuff, like an event or a party. What about something that might feel a bit smaller, like writing a blog post? So for some of us, that might be just one task. That might feel like, yeah, okay, I can write a blog post today, in the same way that I'm recording this podcast. Recording this podcast feels like one task to me. But for you, it might feel overwhelming. So that means it needs to be broken down into its little elements so that you can just pick one at a time and tick them off. So for a blog post, the tasks might be write out the main points you want to cover in the post, choose a title, choose some images, write the post out. You could even break that down into write the first 100 words, write the first paragraph. You can really break it down. Put the post on the website. Again, that might have separate tasks to it. Publish it. And then promote it. Now that's a separate project, isn't it, really? Because if you're going to be promoting it on different social media platforms in different ways, you can break things down and down and down. And although that does mean we're creating lots and lots of little tasks, what we're creating is little tasks that take 5, 10, 15 minutes. So you can get so many of them done because you're not going to feel overwhelmed. You know, publish the blog post. That's a click of a button. That's easy. Tick, done. Rather than trying to do the whole thing all at once. So do you see, hopefully you can understand as I'm telling you this, perhaps why you often feel so overwhelmed? Can you see that now? Because what you're probably trying to do every day is lots of projects, and you're wondering why you can't just tick them off, but you've got these massive projects on your to-do list. And that's where the overwhelm comes in. What we want is just little tasks. Tick, 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 have a cup of tea, tick, 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 go for a walk, tick, 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 do a few more, feels productive, stuff's getting done, amazing. Now, will this make your to-do list absolutely massive? Yes, and that's why, again, as I say, that's why there's two separate things here. There's the whole list of everything we want to get done in like our whole life, which I mean, it's just massive and endless. And then there's today's to-do list. So if you use a notebook, maybe have a different page for each project. If you use a spreadsheet, have a different tab for each project. If you use an app like Asana or Trello, they are set up to have separate projects that are then broken down into little tasks. That's how those apps work. Whatever it is you use to record what you need to do, have the projects separate with their tasks underneath. And yes, you're probably going to end up with like a full notebook or an enormous spreadsheet. That's okay. Because like I say, that's not what we're going to be looking at when we're actually trying to do our work. What we're going to do at the start of each day is we're going to grab a piece of paper or whatever we want to use, and we're going to pick out from our huge, massive list the individual tasks we're going to try and do that day. Now, I'm going to do an episode going into that much more deeply later on this season about how to put together your list for today. But I just wanted to make sure you understood that, yes, we are creating a huge amount of tasks by breaking down our projects, but you're not expected to look at that huge amount of tasks on any given day and try and work through them. You're going to cherry pick what you want to get done on any given day. So we want to end up with a massive list, because a short list that's just projects is actually way more overwhelming than a long list that is little individual tasks that feel easy to get done. So remember, it's not about what other people think is a project or a task. It's about what your brain thinks is a project or a task. And I have learned this through working with a number of different clients who have various different brain types, different neurodivergences. And I can think of certain things as one task, whereas other people need it broken down into much smaller elements. And there's probably things that other people think of as one task that I have broken down for myself. So it's just about what feels easy and doable and what feels overwhelming. If what you've written down feels overwhelming, to your mind it's a project and it needs breaking down further. To the point of, if the grocery shopping is overwhelming, what are the steps? Put shoes on, get in car, get to Tesco's, have panic attack, carry on, whatever it might be. Break it down into the individual steps. And the other wonderful thing about doing that is that we can then insert little bits of fun. So rather than sort the website, oh God, doesn't that sound like soul destroying? We can say, write the contact page, have a cup of tea, choose an image for the homepage, reward self with chocolate. You can add in the fun little rewards in between the individual tasks, and then the whole thing just becomes so much more doable. So what goes on the list? Tasks, not projects. I hope that makes sense. If you would like me to elaborate on anything I've said in this episode, please do leave me a comment. You can do that on my website, clear-day.co.uk. If you go to the podcast section of the website, every episode is there and you can comment on any episode. So please do leave me a comment if you'd like me to elaborate. But I hope that has been helpful. And let's break down our to-do lists so that we can be excessively kind to ourselves in how we get things done. And that will help us to squeeze every last drop of enjoyment out of life. Speak to you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Did you know that my first book is now available to purchase online? Check out the show notes for details of how to get your hands on a copy. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave me a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are up. If you would like to work with me one-to-one or follow more of my content, you can find out how in the show notes. See you next time.